What's up,
up,
everybody?
everybody? What is cracking? You know what day it is.
It's Marriage
It's
Mondays.
Marriage Mondays. It's the first Marriage Mondays of the month of December.
Yes, it is.
How crazy is that we're already on month number 12? It is the end of the year.
Yes.
I don't know where the time went. I promise you, I felt like it was just August yesterday.
Seriously.
It felt like that. Like I was just taking the kids to school. We were just getting backpacks. We were just getting all that stuff, fighting the crazy crowds to get all the school supplies. And I just sent them to school, and it's already half. It's already the year's done, halfway done with the school year. I don't even know where to begin. I just wow. Yeah.
My favorite time of the year is Christmas time. So we're excited. What's so funny?
Because I just think about it's Christmas
I
time.
know. Anyway, so happy to have everybody on tonight. Welcome to Marriage Mondays. We are Team Tate. My name is Maisha Tate.
I am Greg Tate.
Hey, Maya. And we're better known as Team Tate Ministries. Tonight, we're excited. We're going to continue what we started last week, right?
Right, we are, but we want to kick it off. Since you want to bring up Christmas, we're going to kick it off with what is your favorite Christmas song? Go ahead, hit us up in the chat. Hit us up and type it in the comments. What is your favorite Christmas song? Do you have a favorite Christmas
I
song?
don't have a favorite. I have too many, so I don't have a favorite. But I have some favorite Christmas albums. I would have to say,
if you say mine, we it's gonna be a problem.
Boys to Men.
See, there you go.
Is my favorite.
There
Christmas
you go,
album.
right there. Yeah.
Brian McKnight is another favorite
you gotta
Christmas
have Brian
album.
McKnight. Absolutely gotta have Brian McKnight.
Yeah, we're old. I know, but it's good. Oh, okay. Now behold the Lamb.
Yeah.
Hey, Moose, so good to see you tonight. I love that song. It never gets old. Tamla Mann killed that song.
She murdered that song.
Yes, it's a great song.
Straight up murdered that song.
Yeah, that Kirk Franklin Christmas album is top too.
You know what? I have to say, I know a lot of people get mad at me for it, but I don't care. I'll say it, the Mariah Carey album.
Oh Lord.
I don't care. She made me want to run home after my job because she said all I want for Christmas is me. So I was like, just me? Okay, I'm gonna run home for my job. Mariah Carey, yeah, that was dope. That was dope. But obviously, my all-time favorite is the Boys to Men, hands down.
Yeah, let us know. That's the joint right there.
Yeah, it was dopeness.
All right, we got any more? Come on, put it in the chat. Santa Baby, Eartha Kitt. Yes.
Oh wow!
I love it.
And people want to say,
"Oh, okay, Vanessa Williams. It's cold outside."
Okay.
I forgot about that. Vanessa
I remember
Williams
that. I forgot that she could sing.
Yes.
Yeah, she did all right. She did all right. What else we got?
I like that Vanessa.
Yeah,
Boys to Men and Chris. Yes,
I try to tell you. I try to tell you. So that's good stuff right there. I absolutely love it. Love it. Yes. Well, let me get the particulars out the way. If you this first time with us, we appreciate you views. Just like, share, comment below. We like active engagement. We get this conversation going, get this conversation popping.
Yeah.
If we are talking about a topic that you resonate with, we ask you to please share it with somebody. Type their name, tag somebody in this. We are huge about family. We are passionate about family. And this is what this ministry is about, is taking back family and bringing it back under the banner of God's love and showing how wonderful, how great it is to be in relationship, to be in covenant with somebody that you know that you are called to be in, because there is nothing in the whole world like being in a godly relationship that knowing someone has your back no matter what. So with that being said, Maisha, let's get it cracking.
Yeah, let's do it. So last week we talked about fighting fair. So today we're going to talk about fighting fair part 2.
Part 2.
Due to popular demand.
We got a lot of feedback. We got a lot of people texting us like, hey, that was great. A lot of people don't talk about this. We appreciate it. Is there a way that we can get the remix? Is there any way we can get part 2 of it? And so that's what we're doing, part 2. And we hope something that resonates with you and something that speaks to you and something that you can take that's tangible. We don't like to speak, pie in the sky all about that, but we talked about real life, real situations, and real stuff that we are dealing with. So let's go ahead and kick it off, Maisha.
And let me say this, part of the reason why we're doing this is because we haven't always fought fair. This is not about Greg and Maisha figuring it out. This is about Greg and Maisha failing and learning from our mistakes, and then sharing how we can be a blessing to somebody else, and hopefully you don't make the same mistakes we made along the way. And we're a work in progress. So we're growing with you guys, and this is just some things God dropped on our hearts about how to fight fair. So we hope that it can bless you tonight. And again, chime in on the conversation. I love it, Maya. Yes, keep it honest. She said, because I'm petty and I need to learn how to fight fair.
It'll save your relationship and save your sanity.
Yes.
All in the same time. So, but we're coming out of the scripture. We're coming out of, let's pull it up right here. Coming out of Colossians 3:14, just the continuation of what we did last time. And verse 14 says, and all of these virtues put on love, which bind them all together in perfect unity. That's what love does. Love is a binding agent. Love puts together everything and just puts it in harmony. It puts it in correct order. That's what love does. Another scripture says that you can have speak of tongues of angels, and you can perform miracles, and you can prophesy. But if you do not have love, it's like a clanging cymbal. It's just a big crash. It's just making noise. You're just making wild, crazy noise if you do not have love. That's how important love is, and love is a huge factor in relationships. Don't let someone say love is not it's not it. It's not everything. No, it's not everything, but it is. Everything. Just to put it bluntly,
everything flows out of love.
Everything. The way you relate to each other, the way you talk to each other, the way you behave in front of someone and behind someone's back. Love is the foundational start of it all.
It absolutely is. So one of the things in fighting fair that we wanted to bring out tonight is there's some consequences to when we don't fight fair. And in 1 Peter 3:7, it says that if you're out of harmony with your wife or your husband, it can cause hindrance in your prayer life. And it says, in the same way, be considerate. Husbands, in the same way, be considerate as you live with your wives, and treat them with respect, so that nothing will hinder your prayers.
Right.
That's huge.
I didn't realize that until I got older and understood what that is, or even seen that scripture.
Yeah.
How important it is, especially because Peter is acknowledging the man. He's charging up the men of the household. He's charging up the leaders. He's charging up the covering and saying, if you want your prayers to be answered and unhindered, it has great relationship on how you are in with covenant with your wife, how you are relating to her, how you're respecting her, how you are treating her. And even says, it's very bold right there. It says, treat them with respect. It is something that God puts on his high list. It's something that he puts on his high priority things to do, is to treat our wives, treat the people that we are covenant with respect. Because if you cannot treat them with respect, how am I going to bless you, or how am I going to hear you, and you can't even treat the person I gave to you in covenant with proper respect?
Absolutely. And then and in this, yes, it's directed to husbands, but I want to point out that if you're not respectful as a wife, then that can also be a hindrance, right, in the relationship dynamic. So it's important that we learn to treat each other with respect, and that we continue to keep that at the forefront of the relationship. And in fighting fair, you want to make sure that you're treating them with respect. That means that you can disagree. That means that you can have a dispute, but as long as it's in the boundaries of respect.
And that's, I think that's something that's not been taught or not been really said, Maisha, is you can have a disagreement respectfully.
Yeah. And get through it and walk through it and unpack it together and get to a place of agreement, get to a better place together. And sometimes it may take longer. We talked about that last week. Some issues take longer to resolve because they're deeper issues. And sometimes it's not even a long issue. It's just a matter of being, brought to our attention, and then we hear it and we move forward. Right. So you want to keep that at the forefront. You don't want your disagreements, your arguments, your fights to hinder your prayer life. That's huge.
That because just think about that. How I relate to somebody, how do I treat them, matters to God so much that He will literally turn His ear off and listening to you. Think about that for a second. Let that hit home. Let that sink in for a second. That resonates with me because how I relate to you is how God is able to hear my prayer. That's huge because as the man of the relationship, I am the covering, I am the protector, the priest, so on and so forth. And it's my job to be the intercessor for the family. And I can't even do that if we're not in right standing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know that it's being taught very often. That
I
this
haven't
is
heard
scripture.
too many. I haven't heard too many.
Yeah, so it's a big deal to God that we have respect between one another, and that we keep this scripture at the forefront because you definitely want your prayer life to be unhindered. I know I do because there's so much going on, and communication with God is paramount. And so sometimes you have this culture of people being so individualistic that they don't realize, I have my own relationship with God. Well, yeah, your relationship with God is also connected to how you relate to others.
Right.
So He cares about how we treat each other. And so we need to be more cognizant of that and not just feel like we're just on this imaginary island alone all the time and not being connected to one another.
That's what covenant is the two shall become one. And so in joining house, in lining up the lineage, in lining up legacy, the relationship literally takes precedence because of what God is seeing. He's seeing the covenant. He's seeing the oneness. So if the oneness is broken, then obviously our relationship is going to be broken because I'm the creator of the one that I put together. So I really think what y'all think. Comment below. What do y'all think about that? Because that really stuck with us. That really hit me like a ton of bricks years ago when I heard that. That how I relate to my wife, how I treat her with respect, is the catalyst, is the springboard on which how God hears my prayer, and that's huge because I can be blocking my blessing by disrespecting her. Let's just put that bluntly. I can be blocking my blessing by disrespecting her, and vice versa. She can be blocking her blessing by disrespecting me as well. But it specifically says husband, so I'm taking that personally because that's what the author wrote. Is hey, husbands, you set the tone, you rock the leader, you are who God calls you to be. So if disrespect is the theme in your house, hey, God's not going to be able to hear you correctly. And that to me really grabs my attention. So let's keep moving on. Let's keep moving on.
Number two, fighting fair,
is time sensitivity. What I simply mean by that, what we simply mean by that, is check the temperature of the room. Check. Is it a good time to even engage in that way?
Yeah.
Is it how there's times where I'm in a tiff. I'm not in a good mood, or I'm stressed out. I'm easily set off. I'm easily upset. Right then it's not a good time to approach me about something, a dispute that you have with me. Vice versa. She could have got some bad news earlier, or something happened to where she's not in a good space to hear, receive, or to even communicate properly. And I can't be just trunching in there. Well, I need my voice to be heard. It's time sensitive. Yes, you are valued. Yes, your voice has worth, and yes, your position has value, but it's timing as well.
Absolutely. And it's not always something like you want to check the temperature in the room. Think about the timing of the day, right? If somebody's just coming off of work, a long shift at work, they probably need a chance to debrief, unwind, decompress.
Yeah.
Put their shoes down, get settled in at home. It's not a good time to just jump in right away into just an argument or to talk about things that would cause a fight. Be sensitive to the timing. And sometimes, the issue that's going to be brought up is going to be difficult no matter what time you bring it up, but at least try to bring it up at a time when both parties are able to be present and not be so defensive or shut down right away.
That's good.
Because we're all human, right? And there's always times where we're not as alert. I'm not as exactly a morning person, so it takes me time to get unwind and get used to the day. I have to kind of really work towards that. So in the early mornings are not good for me. Even after coffee, it takes me some time to just figure out what am I doing today and all of that. So I know with you, Greg, you don't like late night talks. Once you start shutting down, you don't want to talk.
Listen,
my day is over. I'm done. I've tapped out for the day. I've clocked out about 2 hours ago.
Right.
So
as soon as I touch them bed sheets with my hands, it's night. It's gone. That's the only thing I'm focused on. I am not trying to have a drawn out talk. I'm not trying to have a conversation. And so we really had to learn time sensitivity with each other. Exactly. She's not a morning person. I'm not either, but I'm have more functionality in the morning than she does. And the same with her at night. When it's time to go, it's time to go. I'm ready to clock out. She was like, listen, I finally have a moment to you by myself. I've been working over here. I've been having the kids. I've been running around doing all this. I actually have a moment with you by yourself. Let's talk. And I'm just like, I'm exhausted. Just like you, I need to shut it down. But we had to learn how to go into in the space to where we find each other's optimal rhythm with that. It says I'm not a morning, afternoon, or night person. Then what are you, girl? I mean, that hits all 3 parts of the day. What are you then? If you ain't a morning, afternoon, or night person, what are you? Evening, dusk? What are you? Brunch? What are you? What are you?
That's hilarious.
I don't know what you talking about. That's something silly. She's on one right now.
But time sensitivity is everything, you know. Learning about when is the best time to bring up certain issues. If somebody just found out some difficult news, don't just bring up something else to pile on to the situation. Be sensitive to the timing of when you're going to bring up an issue. That's going to help you in fighting fair. We hope it will, because I've learned that over time. What you need to say could be right. What you need to say could be good, but it may not even be heard if a person is not ready to be present in the fight, in the argument, in the discussion.
So true.
So if you want to be heard, if you want there to be some good to come out of it, if you want productivity to come forward from it, if you want understanding, you might want to check the time sensitivity of the matter and figure out when is the best time, or even pray about it. God, when is the best time for me to bring this up? Because I don't want to just blurt it out at any time. I want this to actually be heard. I want this to bring about some resolve. I want this to move us forward in this relationship. So be sensitive to the timing. Be sensitive to the timing. That's a huge thing. I know I need to say that more, I think, to the women, because we're good at just, I know for me, if something's bothering me, I'm ready to just let it go then. But I have to learn how not to do that. And sometimes the other part to that, babe, is I may think I'm ready, but I'm really not, because I'm really in a place where I'm too angry to even discuss it.
Same here. Yeah.
So it's a good thing to just wait and figure out when is the best time to bring up certain subjects. Maya's asking a question here. What if you don't like confrontation? So no time seems like the best time. Yeah.
You go first, because I got one right there on the tip of my tongue.
Well, I think that, again, like I said, there are some issues that will never feel like it's the right time. I think that prayer is in order in that situation. And you can be honest. God, I don't want to confront this. I'm scared about it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want the issue with it. I think that prayer is in order to prepare your heart to deal with it, because confrontation is necessary. when it's done respectfully and done properly. And that's why we're talking about fighting fair, because I'm not so sure we as African Americans struggle with confrontation, though.
We live by that wish creed.
We tend to be overly confrontational. But
I wish a brother would. I wish a sister would. We live on that wish creed.
But again, we do struggle sometimes. I think sometimes people can be pretty passive aggressive, where they're dealing with it on a low key level. Yeah.
Especially since this social media just blew up and the internet blew up, and people are so passive aggressive.
Yeah.
And they post subliminal messages. You're just like, what?
What? Yeah.
What? Just say it. Just be blunt. Just say it, child. Still quit all this secret message like you're the Riddler. Stop it. Just stop.
What were you gonna say though?
Oh, for me, I was gonna say, you know what? It's how you view it, how you look at it. I understand that some people have a struggle with confrontation. Don't call it a confrontation. Call it a conversation.
That's good.
You know, I'm reminded of how you look something through the lens.
Your perception.
Through the microscope. When you, there's 3 to multiple lens views of the same thing, and you can look at the same thing from a different perspective. And that's how I'm saying is look at it as a conversation. Look at it as something, I just want to have a healthy conversation with you and not a confrontation. If you're looking at it like, oh my goodness, I have to be getting a confrontation with you, you're already coming up tensing up. You're already coming up with your walls up. You're already coming in a defensive posture. But if you're coming and look at it like, listen, I just want to have a conversation with you to clear the air, to gain some understanding. I need to hear your heart. I would like to share my heart with you. And so when you look at it as I'm having a conversation and not a confrontation, I believe that can take some of the air out and some of the steam out of that, of being somewhat timid of being in a confrontation.
Yeah. And if you have proper tools and you practice, the more you practice and the more you have tools and information about who you are as a person and about how you can handle the conversation, you'll be more comfortable with it as time goes on. I think part of the struggle of if you don't like confrontation could have something to do with the fact that you struggle with it up until now, or you haven't felt like you had the right tools to communicate where you're really coming from. So that's part of the reason why we do what we do. There's some confrontation models sometimes that you can get from a therapist. A good confrontation model that I got from a therapist from therapy years ago was to basically address the person with, when you ... and then you list the behavior or whatever happened. You said, I felt, and then you take ownership of how you felt. You don't say you made me feel. You say, I felt blah, 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 ... And you share with them how you felt. And then you put in a boundary about how you're going to take care of yourself.
Right.
Within the context of this confrontation. So in the future, I will blah, blah, blah. If you curse at me when I come at you and I'm trying to talk to you, I'm going to hang up the phone. That's a boundary, right?
That's a huge boundary.
So that's a way to handle confrontation, is to take that simple model and just kind of learn how to tweak it and make it your own. But it's a good way to tell somebody exactly what they did, own how you felt about it, and then set a boundary about how you're going to take care of yourself. That's it.
That's wonderful. Shout out to Miss Ashley. She was just in this head.
Hi, Ashley. Welcome back. Welcome back to Marriage Mondays. It was good to see you here. We're talking about fighting fair tonight. And Maya just asked a question about confrontation. And she said, what if you don't like confrontation? So no time seems like the best time, because we were just giving the point that in fighting fair, it's good to be sensitive to the timing of when you bring up an issue. And so we're just trying to give you guys some tools that we've learned along the way and are learning on how to fight fair. So please keep chatting it up with us in the chat box as we continue the conversation. Did you have something else, though?
Along with the time sensitivity, I also want to bring up another addendum to that is place sensitivity as well. Location sensitivity as well. listen, if you are in covenant or you are in a relationship with somebody, do not air your business out in public.
Right.
And that also includes the social media public. That also
Mm-hmm.
includes the internet public.
That's good.
It is imperative. Listen to me. It is imperative that if you have conflict, which everyone will have conflict, that needs to be done in a private arena. That needs to be done within your household or wherever safe space that you feel like you need to have this conversation, this confrontation, and this matter of differences being dealt with. Do not deal with your conflict. Do not deal with how to fight somebody out in public, because you are inviting everybody and you don't know what kind of spirits, in order you don't know what kind of attitudes, in order you don't know what kind of people in general all around you that you are inviting into your personal space, and it can endanger you, it can endanger your loved one, and it can endanger the relationship as a whole, because you have when you are in conflict, let me say it like this: you want to be in a controlled environment. Why? Because I understand if I'm in my own home, if I'm in my own room, I understand that no one's going to jump in barking behind her back. I understand that no one's going to nobody else is going to come in and try to start messing our conversation. It's a controlled environment. I know where everything is at. I know it's just going to be us two. And you know what? It is a sacred space between us two to have a conversation without everyone's input nor everyone's viewing eyes on the situation.
That's good. So that still goes back to time sensitivity,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So if something comes up, you're in public, probably not a good time to take it there. Probably not a good time to go into the depths of that conversation. Table it. Come back to it later when it's a
Right.
more appropriate time. But yes, babe, I'm glad you brought that up because sometimes people are just so heated and in the moment you want to deal with it, right then and there. And it's not always the safest place to do so for either party when it's a public situation where people don't even have context for what you're
Right.
saying or what's going on. So you want to be respectful of each other in a way that will protect the conversation and each other, the best way you know how. And sometimes if you can't resolve it together, get a mediator, a pastor, a therapist, somebody
Yes,
else, a third
absolutely.
party,
Absolutely.
a person of wisdom and character that can help mediate something that you're going through,
Hmm.
because sometimes things are just that difficult and you can't seem to get your way through it together.
Absolutely.
So don't be ashamed of that. There's nothing wrong with it. We were in counseling many times together
Hmm.
over things that we
Yeah.
couldn't resolve on our own. So there's no shame in it. There's help out there. We just want to offer what we've learned and how we have learned that to help you learn how to fight fair.
Right. Exactly.
All right. So so no arguing in Cheesecake
Yeah.
Factory. Got
Please don't
it.
argue in Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
Please don't argue there or in Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. Don't do that. That's my spot.
All right. What's the next point?
The next part is resolve. Proverbs 20 and 3 says it is honorable for a man to stop striving, since any fool can start a quarrel. So what it is resolve. What is it that we're arguing about? How can we make this come to a close? In a respectful manner, one. Two, in a manner that brings you peace and resolve on your end, and peace and resolve on my end. Are we just arguing just for arguing's sake? Are we going to let this continue on and on and on and on until wee hours of morning and none of us get rest? Or
Where can we land the plane?
where can we land this plane? Where can we get off on this off ramp on this freeway? Where can we have resolve at? There has to be an end point. And in that end point, that's where it ends. It's done. It's over. It doesn't carry on to the next day. It doesn't carry on a couple of months from now when you're trying to win another argument and you throw this one back up in their face. It ends on that. That's what resolve means. A total conclusion of that subject matter.
Yes, that's good, babe. Sometimes for me, the resolve is just letting go.
Yeah, that's hard.
You
That's hard to
know,
do. That's difficult to do.
Yeah, sometimes the resolve is to just let go. And other times the resolve is, you know what, we both heard each other.
Hmm.
Repeating what the other person has said to let the person know that you have heard them.
Yeah.
And then that other person doing that for you,
Right.
is a good way to start to let your landing gear down to land the plane. It's a good start to say, listen, we've heard each other. Now
Right.
now where do we want to go from here now that
Right.
we've heard each other? How can we bring this thing, to a resolve? Um and how can we compromise? How can we make sure that both parties' feelings
Right.
and both parties' viewpoints are considered and respected?
Right.
Because sometimes when you're in the heat of an argument, you're not even able to sort through how to come to resolve because you're so caught up in wanting to be heard. So we're talking about after you've already expressed how you felt. And, this is kind of coming to an end of the fight. We're trying to teach you how to fight fair to come to a fair resolve.
Fair conclusion, fair resolve. And some things are just not that difficult. Sometimes I put it bluntly, like I'm getting tired. I can't keep going on and on about this.
We're
right
going
now.
in circles.
We're going in circles.
Mhm.
This is what they call circular reasoning. It's just bringing up one point and literally just carouseling around that over and over and over again. I'm getting tired. I'm getting worn out. Let's find resolve because I can't keep going on like this. And sometimes it's just being that blunt, like, listen, I don't want to do this. I don't want to keep going on about this. I hear your point. Please hear me. And hearing you, if I miss anything, please chime me and let me know what I'm not hearing from you properly. What did I miss from you? What is your position? What is your takeaway? What is how you see things? If I'm off, please, in love, correct me. How I see where you were coming from, but I also want to tell you my point. But I don't want to keep going on and on about this. I want to know that, hey, I'm getting worn out. We need to land this bird so we can go about our day. We can go about our relationship and we can move forward.
I think that the important thing to know is being heard is important, but that person may not change their mind about their original position. They can hear you without doing that. You don't have control over what they decide with the information that you share with them. That's not the goal of the whole fight. The goal of the fight is to be heard and to set a boundary and take care of yourself, because you can only clean your side of the street. You can only take care of you. You can't take care of everybody in the relationship. That's not your job.
Right.
Your job is to express how you feel and what happened and how that affected you and how you're going to take care of yourself if that comes up ever again. So that's the biggest way to come to a resolve, is to take care of you in the situation and say, I acknowledge that you can repeat what they said and all of that, but going forward, this is how I see myself taking care of myself. Maya asked, what happens when there can't be an agreed upon resolution and the agree to disagree isn't working? That's the part I was just sharing, is about setting a boundary. Because again, it's not always going to happen in that manner, but you can set a boundary to protect yourself, or to take care of yourself is a better word, within the context of the relationship. And that's, for me, the best way to handle it, because again, we don't have control over how a person receives or doesn't receive what you're trying to say. And that's not the goal. But in the end, you can take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
You do have power to take care of yourself. And you don't have to give that away to somebody else. That's the beauty in it. So that's where I would take it. Because there's times where Greg and I, he's expressed to me, or I've expressed to him, I heard you, I just still disagree with your perception of how things turned out.
Right.
I apologize that you were hurt in the process. You can still acknowledge how a person is feeling and all of that, and you can say, but going forward, I'm going to do this to set a boundary. And and then we end up agreeing that that's the best way to move forward,
Right.
so that we can move forward, because we don't want to stay stuck. You know, if you don't come to a resolve, you will be stuck,
Right.
and it will come back up. You think you've resolved it, but it will come back up.
You want to resolve because it's a finishing point.
Yes.
Without a
It's a
finishing,
healing.
without a finishing point, you are carrying on and being lost.
Yes.
And in a relationship, that's the last thing you want to be, is lost in anywhere in a relationship. You don't want to be
Yes.
lost on the road. You don't want to be lost in the airport. You don't want to be lost in anything. The same thing in a relationship. If there's not an ending point, if there's not a finish line to this conflict and to fighting fairly with somebody, you're going to just continue to go on, and you're going to be lost. And then when you are lost, a lot of things also get lost with it. Why am I fighting for? What were we even talking about? Now I'm just getting upset just to be upset, because you are totally lost in this thing. You need to have an exit. You need to have a finish. You need to have, okay, this is done. This is concluded. This is over. Or you run the risk of getting lost in the argument. And so, if you're like me, I'm a passionate person. So when you get lost and then you add the passion into it, now I don't even know what I'm upset about anymore, because now I'm in such a defensive posture. Now I'm just defending myself and trying to win the argument because I feel insulted. That's the purpose of having resolve, and it's because it gives you a cutoff. It gives you, like, I'm not going to wander aimlessly. It gives you a direction, and it gives you a push in a certain placement, so this can have an end. That's the whole point of fighting fair. You want it to end. You do not want it to be your norm. You do not want it to be your circumstances where it's an everyday occurrence. You want it when you have it. Okay, let's have it. Let's talk it out, and let's end it. That's the purpose of this.
Yes, yes, yes. So resolve is very important. And as it's saying in this proverb, it's honorable for a man to stop striving, or woman. That's for both genders. Since any fool can start a quarrel. Oftentimes it's like, well, I didn't even come at you like that. You came at me. Well, it doesn't matter. We're in it now. So how are we going to get out?
Right. Right.
So, taking care of yourself through setting boundaries is a very, very important thing to know when it comes to resolve.
Absolutely. This last one that we have for you right here is, don't waste an argument. And here where we're coming from with that, because this can sound confusing, this can sound puzzling, and this can sound like, what do you guys even talk about wasting an argument? What I mean that is, we have come to the common ground of understanding that not only is every day a blessing, every moment is a blessing, and every time that we get together is a blessing, because we are in covenant together. Not only just that, but you know what? Even our argument can seem, we want to learn every step of the way, every day that we are together, every month that we are, and every year that we are together. We want to learn and grow from each time that we have these things. So you don't want to waste an argument. Let's just not argue for argument's sake and then end it. And then there was no lesson learned in that, because then you're going to go right back around and do that same thing over and over again.
Yes.
And when instead of, it's all right, what did I learn from this? What did I gain from this? What did I give from this?
Mm-hmm.
Not just what I gained from this. What did I give from this?
Mm-hmm.
How was my position? How do I feel? How do I feel after this?
Mm-hmm.
What was a purpose in even doing that? Was there even a purpose getting into it like that? Was there any functionality that served me in doing this? So don't waste an argument. If you have one, everyone's going to have one. Everyone's going to have a disagreement. Everyone is going to have a scuffle verbally. Everyone's going to get into it. But don't waste that opportunity to learn from each other, to learn from yourself, learn from the situation. Okay, I can't bring up this certain subject around this certain time, around when she's feeling like this. What is it? What do you gain out of this? What is the checklist that you gain? What is the knowledge that you gain? What is the pearls of wisdom that you gain in arguing? Because arguing just to argue, you look foolish. You sound silly. You look silly, and you know what? You gained nothing.
And most importantly, it's we repeat what we don't heal. So in order to heal, in order to move forward in your life, in order to grow, in order to get further along, the most important lessons are hidden in arguments. Sometimes they're hidden in
That's
conversation.
good. Yeah,
They
that's
teach you
good.
more about yourself than they do other people.
Yeah, that's good.
So it's a very important that you do a self-evaluation of what, how can I use this information to be to learn, for myself, even, and about myself, and how to handle things going forward. Because some of the arguing that we do, we don't have to continue to get into it over.
Right.
There should be some growth. There
Right.
should be a point at which, some of what you argued about earlier on in your marriage will go away, right? Over time.
Absolutely.
If you are gaining something out of it, if you're not wasting your arguments, you will grow to a certain point where you learn how to fight fair. And in fighting fair, you learn more about yourself. So that is very, very important. That can be used in any situation, not just in marriage, but in any relationship. Don't waste an argument. It took too much energy. It took too much time. It took too much effort for you to waste it.
Absolutely. If you're going to fully engage in something, then you need to fully get something out of it.
Absolutely. It makes me think of King David, and when he killed Goliath, he told him, what am I going to get out of killing him?
Right. I'm about to go into this conflict. I'm about to go into this war for you.
Right. What do I get out of this?
What do I get out of this? Exactly.
Very important.
Absolutely. So we want to give you some also part of this is we want to give you some solutions. We want to give you some to-dos and some tools for your tool belt when you do get an argument, when you do get in a conflict with your loved one, so that you are learning how to fight fair, and you're, like Maisha said, you're learning how to set healthy boundaries for yourself and for your relationship, and for the person that you are covenanted with. One of the first ones that we have here is keep outside ears limited. What do I mean? That is the same thing when I was saying is keeping things private, in a private setting. Do not be in the public. But also, just because you're arguing in a private setting, you know what? Don't be going on the phone. Don't be getting on a text message, bringing all these other outside opinions into your relationship. If they are not trusted, they are not someone that you respect in that space that you are arguing about or having certain things with that about, keep outside ears limited.
And we're not saying keep it totally private, right?
No.
Because that's not healthy either.
That's why
we're saying limited. So only allow wise counsel, those that that are going to listen with wisdom.
Yes.
And temperance, as you're sharing those things, and also that won't weaponize what you're saying against you or your spouse or your significant other. So you definitely want to make sure you're seeking wise counsel, whether that be professional therapist, your pastor, a mature friend sometimes can handle that. So use discernment when you're deciding who you're going to share extra information with.
Let's just bring the cat out of the bag. Sometimes family is safe for you to discuss certain things, and then sometimes family is not safe for you to discuss certain things. There's certain things that your family cannot handle, and it is unwise for them to know and chime in on your relationship about.
Yeah.
But family, your village, hopefully is a safe place for you that where you can find shelter and seek safety with that, but also respecting the space of that's your marriage, that's your covenant, that's your relationship, and not chiming in and trying to meddle into your affairs.
Absolutely. All right, so that's one solution that we have. Another one is, let's see, we have a comment in the comment section.
Yeah, we have a comment. What's the comment?
I'll be having to check in sometimes to make sure I'm not tripping. Even in those regards, I try to put on me. Yes, exactly. So it's good. Yeah. Those are those, check-in points where you want to know, you want feedback. You want wise feedback and say, help me understand. What's your perception? Because sometimes we all have blind spots. So wise counsel is important. So that's why we said make sure that you're seeking it from the right people, because sometimes you end up telling somebody and they bring in something so off the wall that you're like, that's not even what I was talking about.
Or they weaponize it,
and then they got you thinking about something that wasn't even there, and then it turns into a whole nother matter. So just be careful.
Listen, I love my friends, and there's some friends that I cannot bring our situation to, our conflict to, because one, I love them dearly, but I do not respect them in the area of relationships. How am I going to, ask a single person what's going on if they're not married? So how they know about being in a covenant?
Right.
How they know about, being in a marriage? How they know about the situation I'm in? That's just foolish on my part to seek counsel for somebody. Also, let me just clarify, because I did mentor someone about this not too long ago. If you are seeking counsel, make sure it is, if it is non-professional, I highly, highly, highly discourage opposite sex. I highly discourage that. If it is a non-professional person, I highly discourage opposite sex seeking counsel from somebody like that. You can just open so many doors. That is a big Pandora's box you don't even want to go into. And you know what? It's misleading sometimes, even though you might not think of it that way, that other person can think of it that way. And you might not think, oh, that's my friend, that's my homie, that's whatever. But in their minds, like, all right, I got a green light. All right, now they gave me the keys to her emotional heart. And so I caution you very carefully, do not seek counsel. If it's a non-professional, be very cautious. I do not suggest that it is somebody with the opposite sex dealing with your relationship.
Good point. Next solution: value the person, not the position. So we're saying people over positions. Always value the person over what you think, right? Or what the point you're trying to make.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's, what, I value my wife over my pride. Let's just be honest. Sometimes I value her over the position. I'm so fixated on trying to be right that literally I'm running her over. And say, they know what, I value you more than being right. I value you as a person than the perspective that I have or the position that I have. Even though my perspective and my position is valuable, I am a person of worth. She is a person of worth. But it is not to proceed the person that I'm in covenant with.
Right. Don't hold it in higher regard to be right than to value the person. Because then you'll be alone forever. Okay. There's God values people.
Yes.
And so it's highly, highly important that we place value on people again, and value on people, because I just believe that, you can only value a person as much as you value yourself. That's why I keep talking about how you feel about you matters, because it's how you treat people. Jesus said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So the two are connected, right? So how I feel about me has a lot to do with how I treat Greg and how I treat other human beings. So it's very important that you understand your value, and in understanding your value, you value other human beings. And you'll learn something. You can learn something, even if your position is right. Maybe you're both right.
Right. Do you ever think of it that way?
So think about that.
Right. Exactly.
All right. What's the next solution?
Last solution we have for you. Be respectful. In your volume, how loud you speak to somebody, in your tone. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And then in your body language. Be respectful. We can have a disagreement and I can still carry respect. We can be in a disagreement and I still don't have to put you down. Or I don't have to mock you with my tone. Or nor do I have to outshout you in a shouting match. Nor do I have to, close my arms off and stand at this position and have a closed off body language. Be respectful in those three arenas. That also that I have learned has helped draw resolve to a quicker close more than anything is showing respect in those three areas.
I love it. Very, very, very important. And of course, in respecting someone else, you hope to gain a greater understanding and respect for each other.
Right.
Maya said, I've noticed as I cared about myself more, I in turn care more about other people more. Yes, absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Right. That's
So
what it
as we
does.
heal, we're able to become wounded healers.
Hmm.
That's the beauty of what it is to be a Christian. We've been given a gift to heal, so we can now offer that same grace to someone else. You know, we only usually have grace for what's familiar. Um, that's just how human beings tend to be. You know, if you don't need grace in a certain area, you tend to not really have it for other people.
Hmm.
But the more you understand of how much God has value, you know, when it comes to you, you can extend that to other people, and in turn learn how to treat one another better with more value and more respect, because value is huge. Valuing other people is huge. We live in a society now where human life is not being valuable anymore. You know, people are just taking people's lives
Hmm.
and not understanding,
Right.
man, that's somebody's dad, that's somebody's brother, that's
Right.
somebody's, you know, son. You
Hmm.
know, we got to put value on people again. It's more than money. It's more than what the image is. It's more than the likes. It's more than all of that. People matter. And so we got to put value on them again. Um, so being respectful in our volume, tone, and body language is another way that we show value to someone else. What you have to say matters to me.
It's also, it depending how you were brought up, it can also be also very difficult because it's countercultural of what you've been brought up.
It's a struggle for me
uh,
at times.
it's sometimes, if all you seen was mom roll her neck and pop her neck,
Mm-hmm.
or all you seen was dad cross his arms and be silent and give mom
Or yell and
give mom the silent treatment, or scream and holler and yell. It's hard to break free from that, because that's what you've been brought up with. That's what you've been taught. That's your cultural norm. Like I said, it's countercultural sometimes, but learning respect can just be more than a behavior. It can also be in the way that you confront somebody.
mm-hmm.
Like we said, the volume, tone, and body language. How you literally position yourself in the argument, in the confrontation, says a lot.
It sure does.
If you are already with your arms crossed, or if you are with your eyes rolling, or if you're shouting, you're not able to listen, and it's physically, psychologically, and emotionally impossible to listen while and talk at the same time. It is. It's impossible to listen and talk at the same time. So sometimes being respectful means to hush. Sometimes that's the volume part. Sometimes it's like, you know what, let me be quiet. I don't talk too much. It's time for this person to talk. It's time for this person to express how they are feeling, and it's time for you to shut up.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of times where, like, you know what, okay, I done beat my dead horse. Let me just shut up,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and
Good
that's what it
point.
is.
Good point. I was gonna say, give yourself grace in this process of learning how to fight fair. It's gonna take time. It's taking me time. You know, I struggle in certain more areas than others. You know, to learn how to fight fair. But as you're giving yourself grace, you know, you can grow and get better at it. So it takes practice.
Yes.
Practice or progress, not perfection.
Right.
That's the goal, and we hope that these tools, these tidbits, these points that we've given y'all will be helpful in learning how to fight fair.
Mm-hmm.
This is just one a better way that you will learn how to grow as a human being if you learn how to fight fair.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that our fights and arguments teach us more about who we are than anything else. So it's very important that we don't just ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important that we don't get petty and passive aggressive, but that we, confront people with love and respect and grace, and begin to unpack what's hurting us, what's triggering us, what we need to heal from as individuals. So I definitely want to make sure that I just share that tonight, that value your arguments, don't waste them.
Mm-mm.
Value the people
Mm-mm.
you're arguing with, um, change your perspective and how you see an argument. Maybe both parties are right.
Mm-hmm.
There doesn't have to just be one person who's right. There could be both parties being right. So learn from them. There's so much I've learned from Greg that I only saw it through my lens because I'm me,
Mm-hmm.
and I needed him to show me a whole nother viewpoint.
Go ahead and speak about me, girl. Go ahead, talk about me.
So,
and vice versa. I've learned so much about you and about the certain situations, and just some blinders that I had to remove from my eyes. That's the beauty about being in covenant with somebody else. You're not in covenant with yourself. You can't. It's impossible to be in covenant with yourself.
Right.
You are yourself. It is a covenant because you are in agreement, and you walk two and shall become the one together. And that's the beauty about it. You're going to get different perspectives. Listen, they say opposites attract. I believe that, and I also believe there is also some commonality in someone that you are in covenant with. There's some things that you have, a lot of things that you do have in common. But Maisha and I do differ on certain things. And you know what? We've learned to embrace that and love that about about each other. And that's what it is. And I love that. And I absolutely love her difference of opinion. I love her different perspective. I love how she views life and sees things. Is that Lakiva?
Hey.
What's up,
hey,
Lakiva?
Sis.
What's going on, girl?
So good to see you tonight. So yes, Marriage Mondays. It's been great, y'all. So we are learning how to fight fair. And tonight we brought up 4 different points.
Yeah.
The first one being,
let's bring it up.
You want to make sure that you, as a husband, treat your wife with respect,
because it can hinder prayers.
Because it can hinder your prayer life. And then also we want to learn as husband and wife, or time sensitivities, to not just bring up an argument or a discussion without recognizing, is this a good time to do it? And then number 3, we taught you how to resolve and come to a resolve in the argument. Don't just, keep going around in circles. Make sure you have an exit. And then number 4, don't waste an argument. What did you learn out of it? What can you take from this situation? So we want to make sure that you are learning something. Love you too, Lakiva.
Here's a good question.
Oh, what about age difference? Ooh, that's a great question.
That's a good question. Because see here, I'm the younger of the two. I like to tell folks that, I like a mature, fully developed woman when I no, I'm just
I can't with this man, y'all.
But it's true. She's older than me. I like that. I love it.
It's a struggle sometimes.
It's a struggle sometimes. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, the age difference. It is understanding how we deal with things is understanding. That's what's the beauty of understanding the position that they are in. Mm. And understanding, okay, because of this age, they probably view things differently. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, we are real close. She is not my sugar mama. She is not like 15, 20 years older than me.
No.
She is only 4 years older than me. And so our line of thinking is pretty close in that regard, simply because of our age. Our age gap is not that huge, but it is crucial. It is critical for to understand their position, and also give them the space and opportunity to express their position if it differs from yours.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if the difference doesn't matter, it can be embraced. The thing about age too is a person can be numerically at a certain age, and they can, and emotionally and spiritually have a certain maturity, or immaturity. There's a lot of,
I think,
toddler
yeah,
40-year-olds.
I
So
think
it
Prince
just
said it best.
depends on, where a person is. I always say that, everybody who's in an adult body isn't really an adult.
At your age, not your shoe size. That's one of my favorite singers, what he said.
Yeah.
And it's true, because you know what? I met some 18-year-olds that have an old soul.
Yeah. It's like, what?
They walk around like little deacons, like, this, like, they pay tithes. They go.
It's true.
They go to the buffet after church, and there's some little old souls walking around here.
Right.
It's not always negative. In those cases, you're like, dude, you either be younger, have fun, and do that. So, but also in the age difference, embrace the difference of it.
Yeah.
And embrace the difference of the age gap. Embrace the difference of, you know what? Okay, they might be the generation after me, and embrace that, because that brings a whole fresh perspective. That brings a whole things of I set of eyes on it. That brings a whole, and how I see it is more. The more the difference is in some aspects, the more solutions can be produced out of there. Yeah, that buffet at the church hit. What's wrong with y'all? Oh my gosh! First of all, I don't even like buffets like that. But that's a church thing. Like after church, they go hit up Golden Corral or whatever one.
Let's go fellowship.
Let's go fellowship after that. Unless it's pastor's anniversary where they have food there. Or it's the church anniversary where they have food there.
I love it.
And why is it the food is always the same, whether it's a pastor's anniversary, church anniversary, or a funeral? It's all the same. You get that same potato salad, that same hunkin' fried chicken, and same mac and cheese that you got to question, like, who made this mac and cheese? I don't know what it is. Can we get some plate variety, please? There's different celebrations. Along we have these age difference and celebration of age. Can we have a celebration of different plates at different things at different functions? Just saying.
All right, you digress.
I did.
Lakiva said he is God-fearing and more mature than guys my age. See? Yeah, absolutely. So it varies. There's people who are aging in years, but they're not growing. They're still 10 years old. So it all matters. It all varies. It all matters. Greg is way more mature than I was at his age. Even he he is. He just is. So it varies.
And I want to encourage you, if someone is more mature, that do not feel the pressure that you feel you have to come up to that level.
Right.
Embrace where you are. Without question, Maisha is mature in a lot of areas that inspire me to be more mature. But I'm not going to place the pressure on myself to be like her in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. We just balance each other out.
We balance each other out and be comfortable of where you're at. Don't stop in aspiring to grow, but don't don't put that pressure on yourself where I have to be mature in this area, or I have to like this person, or I have to do that just because you're in covenant with them or you're in relationship with them. Be comfortable where you're at, not comfortable, but be satisfied, not satisfied. How am I going to say this? That's the best way I can say it. Just be comfortable of where you're at. You don't have to put on that added pressure of trying to get better.
We love you too. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for the commentary. You made this conversation rich. As always, our Marriage Mondays community is the best. Yes, Maya, I like them older, but some of these older cats are just childish. Real talk. Greg's younger, but he's older. You know what I'm saying? So just be open, because again, maturity can hide itself behind a younger age.
It can.
Just depends on who God has for you.
Right.
I never in a million years would have thought I would have married somebody younger than me. But
thanks.
No, I'm just being honest.
I always knew I was gonna be older.
I'm pretty
Yeah, you pretty all right.
I'm pretty picky. Let's just say that.
Un poquito. No,
So,
a little bit.
God is good, and He knows exactly what you need in order to grow. We want to make sure that y'all tune in next week. We have a new, fresh topic to talk about. Now that we learned how to fight fair, we're gonna probably lighten it up next week.
Yeah, you know what? Also, too, if there's a certain topic that you guys want to hear about,
yeah,
if there's a certain
let us
topic
know
that you just itching to have a good conversation about, hit us up. You have all our social medias up there. You have all our access to get us to get to us online. Hit us up. Hey, I want to hear this topic. I want to hear this topic. Let's dive into that topic. We love to hear from y'all. Listen, we have all the seasons of our episodes already planned out, but we have no problem pivoting. We love things that get you guys excited. So what gets you guys excited gets us excited. So because we want to be relevant, we want to be right on the same plane, the same street that you guys are on. So you can guys get the most out of everything that we are saying, because we don't have it all together. We're going to learn together as we go through this journey on Marriage Mondays.
Love it. Tonight was good. I learned a lot. Thank y'all for tuning in. Like Greg said, if you aren't following us on social media, head over to our social media, follow us, like us, share us. We're trying to build a community that's healing relationships all over the globe. If you haven't subscribe to our YouTube. All of our information is above on the banner.
Find it, girl. Find it.
And also, if you feel led to partner with us and share and give, you can give to our giving information up there on our Cash App as well. And there's also a donate button on our website at teamtateministries.com. You can find the donate button and partner with our ministry. We believe that God has called us for such a time as this, and we want to change the world by helping us all grow and heal in context of relationship and family. More specifically, our church is Noah Church, and we're planting it here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And we believe that the vision of our church is to heal, reunite the family under the banner of God's love.
Yep. That's how we're doing.
It's all about love and family.
That's what we got.
That's who Team Tate is.
That's what Team Tate is. That's what our church is going to be. Is about.
It's a family church. It's a family affair.
It is about family. La familia. It is kingdom.
I love it.
That's who we are. That's what we're called to be, and that's who we are discipling, and that's who we're going after. So this has been Team Tate. This has been another Marriage Mondays. We love y'all.
Love y'all.
Please like, share, comment. And we shall see y'all next week. We love y'all.
Love y'all. Good night.
Good night.